5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. Wherever you are in the world, that must apply to you somewhere. How are we all? This is LTI TV. And of course, it's that time again. I say that, we don't really have a set time. But it is Friday night. It's not quite on in the light. Well, it is in this house, apparently. I've got stadium floodlights coming in. They're not beaking me back to the home planet. It is just lights in the house. It is the preview show. It's Swansea City versus Leicester City at the weekend. How are we all doing? How are we feeling? First of all, good evening, Chris. I know everybody can see the comment there, but I always like to bring yours up. Good evening. How are we doing? And good evening to Craig in the chat also. Yeah, how are we feeling? Undefeated in a few games, but draw. I'm not sure if you like it. Didn't manage to get the win last time out on a Tuesday night at home to Wrexham. And we like the Welsh that much, we're going to visit them. But we're not going to visit Wrexham, we're going to visit Swansea. And we're going to talk all things Leicester Swansea in just a second. My guest Luke from Swans Cast is patiently waiting in the background to bring him in. So without further ado, I'm going to spring it on him and bring him in. Luke, how the devil are you, my friend?
Hello, thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm good. Bit tired. Been a long couple of days. Probably a little bit closer to Leicester than Swansea over the last night. But I'm back home now, so ready to talk about the game.
Yeah, it's always nice to get home. And it's nicer still when you get home and you know you've got a little bit of respite. Unfortunately, as we were talking background, both of us usually work weekends. Yeah. I'm not going to rub it in. This is my first weekend in a while that I don't have to go into work, but usually I feel your pain of going into it. But football to distract us, help you through the afternoon, or put us in a bad mood. It's football. It's what it does, Luke.
Yeah, I always catch the second half normally on the radio on the way home. So hopefully it's kind of at least a little bit competitive still by then.
Well, you see, I definitely, in case anyone from my workplace is watching, I definitely don't watch it on my phone. I definitely don't.
I mean, I was not going to leave that bit in, but maybe sometimes.
Don't worry. We've got you here. Don't worry.
It depends how busy it is, really.
Yeah. Of course, if it's busy, my full focus is on my job. Excited for the game today. Tomorrow night. Bloody hell, you can tell I've had a long week. Days, weeks, months, years, all rolling into one. Exciting for the game tomorrow, Luke. I mean, I saw a record against you recent times hasn't been too great for Swansea. Is this a fixture you're really up for, hoping for revenge, or are you just thinking, not again, not Leicester again?
I don't know what the stats off the top of my head, but I can remember sort of that we probably don't have the best recent record against Leicester, going back from even when we were in the Premier League together. I think there was a few seasons. I think you came up, didn't you, had that sort of great escape, but I think we struggled against you, and the way that you played versus the way we played. Obviously, heavy possession, but I think originally when you came up to the Premier League before you won the league, you were kind of set up to defend and catch us on the break, and we always struggled against that sort of system, even in the Prem when we play in that style. And then the year that you did win the league, I remember you battered us twice, so that wasn't fun. And we loaned you Nathan Dyer, who couldn't get in our team and
Yeah.
came back with a Premier League winners medal. So that
Yeah.
was interesting. So I know he didn't play an awful lot for you, but he still got the medal.
No, but we do like to lord it over when we play you guys. That that Nathan Dyer must be they've got the biggest ego going around Swansea, just swinging his arms with his medal around his neck after he came back from you guys.
I do think the last time we played in the championship, when you were here last time, I think we gave you 2 decent games. We just didn't end up grabbing anything out of them. I think we perhaps could have got more, but it wasn't to be.
I mean, I have to remember from what I remember of the games, the scoreline not necessarily flattered us, but it was like it wasn't if we beat you 3-0, it wasn't necessarily a drubbing 3-0, could have been 4 or 5. It was like a couple of chances the other end, and that could have been a different story. Yeah. I mean, Craig says he thinks it'll be a tough game Saturday, and apparently I must be Russian because Doug says hello, Vrad. Yo ho, hello. Don't tell Putin, doesn't know. But no, it's never felt like a game where it's kind of like, hey, here we go, easy 3 points in the bag. I know a couple of seasons ago we maybe got a bit arrogant at some games, like the Rotherhams and that. Sorry, Rotherham. I'm not sure why you'd be here watching unless just wanted to preview, but just in case, I'm just using you as a prime example. It doesn't feel like we've ever played you with much ease about it. You know what I mean? There's never been like, we've got a really good record. So I feel like our record at the moment as well has us a bit on edge. I mean, like Craig says there, it's going to be a tough game against yourselves. Last season, obviously, we were a division apart, although watching us play, you wouldn't have known that. You'd have thought it'd have been the other way around. We was in like League One and you was a Championship, not the Premier League. And, Championship dividing us. You finished 11th. Now, Swansea have been in the Championship for a while now, and I always say the bad side to the Championship is, yes, it's competitive, one of the most, if not the most competitive league in in Europe, or if not the whole world, for how competitive it can be. You can find yourself in a bit of a rut. How was that last season? Because you weren't a million miles away off the playoffs in the end, realistically. You was only a couple of points in 8th and 9th. Did you finish that season where you finished? Or was it a little bit meh, and then back-end results made it look a bit better than what it was?
So the season started okay, the first half, up to like Christmas, when you play everyone the first time, essentially. We had a different manager, Luke Williams, at the time, who was a lot more kind of like the old Swansea, focused on possession and playing that sort of system. Perhaps sometimes not enough goals and being clinical. I think there was a lot of games that we basically were in every game for the first half of the season. We didn't lose a game by more than 1 goal the first time we played every team. So what's that, the first 22 games? Is it 21 games? Whatever it is. 22.
Yeah,
23.
No,
so
the
first half of the season, we didn't lose by more than 1 goal. So there was a lot of perhaps 1-0s or 1-alls or 2-1, stuff like that in the games right till the very end. And that's, a decent trait. So we were hovering perhaps just outside the playoffs, mid-table sort of area, probably more mid-table. Going into Christmas, we started to gather a bit of momentum. We had a bit of a takeover, not a loud one, really. The chairman that was in place at the time led a consortium to buy out the owners. So he stayed as chairman. So he transitioned with the takeover. And no one was really sure what to expect because we had American owners before. We still had some American owners. There was some other input as well, some Welsh input and stuff. But a bit positive because the last owners were not very popular at all. Nothing like what you're seeing in some clubs. I will put that out there now. But not popular for other reasons, like perhaps people thought a bit of asset stripping, not spending so much. I don't necessarily think factually asset stripping was happening, but perhaps the reinvesting and stuff wasn't there. So it was just a bit dull. And it was dull going down. So they took over from when we were in the Prem, came down to the Championship. We had a couple of goes at the playoffs, but ever since it's just been like kind of a downward trajectory for the club. So that looked like, okay, can we have a fresh start? Luke Williams, as the manager then, started to get a couple of good results around Christmas, a bit of momentum on the pitch. Maybe the consistency he'd been sort of asking for all season started to show a little bit, like perhaps we could get some form going. And then he started to get linked to other jobs, West Brom specifically, basically came out to the media and said, well, he didn't say he didn't want to go, let's just say that. I didn't deal with the questions very well. And all of a sudden, everything just fell apart. And I literally mean fell apart. Remember I said we'd only lost by 1 goal maximum all season up to like literally up until the 1st of January, which was on the back of a 2 or 3 game winning streak, where he started getting questioned on like, you're going to make the playoffs. We probably, I think, 2 or 3 points off the playoffs at this time. Bit of form going up the table. And he got linked to the West Brom job. Started talking about it. We go to Portsmouth on New Year's Day, who at the time were bottom of the league, and lost 4-0.
Yeah.
Like literally out of nowhere. And you think, okay, New Year's Day, maybe it's a one-off because of time of year, and it happens sometimes. But then we went on a run of something like 7 defeats in 9 games with only 1 win in there as well, which was probably a little bit of a fortunate win away at Bristol City. That we did all right in that game. We thought maybe it was a false dawn, but it clearly wasn't. We actually played West Brom in that period. Within the week that we played West Brom, they shut the links down, and Luke Williams was kind of left with a bit of egg on his face because by all accounts, the media was reporting that it was a done deal. He was going, and then out of nowhere, it didn't happen. I don't think the fans were too pleased with the link, and I think the way that he handled himself in the media turned the club off a little bit. But he never recovered from it. So we played Cardiff in that spell as well, got drubbed, didn't lay a finger on him, really embarrassing defeat. And that's kind of, when it's going down, if you can't get your players up for your biggest match, your biggest derby, it's really difficult, I think, then to continue. So for me at that stage, he said sorry for the comments and sort of said that it was never intentional. He was just trying to joke around in the media. So for me, it was okay. It was a case of, okay, well, if that's correct and that's true and you haven't lost the dressing room, you'll go and get something against Cardiff or at least put in a good performance. And the fact that didn't happen, I think I knew the writing was on the wall, but they waited until after the January window and a couple of games into February, where we had plummeted down from being a playoff contender to looking like a relegation contender in the space of that 9-10 game period. It's just amazing how quick things can change in the Championship, because that's like a month and a half, and it changed our season. So Alan Sheehan was then brought in when he was sacked as caretaker. They also sacked the chairman that I mentioned led the takeover because of bad January business and all that sort of stuff. And Alan Sheehan came in, took the reins, and actually did a very, very good job of steadying the ship, and more than steadying the ship, shot us back up the other end of the table. I think at one stage he was on 2-point-something points per game. I think if you from the period Alan Sheehan took over, we were like in the top 4 for points gained in that period for the end of the season. So that's definitely points enough to be challenging for the top 6. And if you take out that 9-game spell I mentioned in January, we would have been in the playoffs if you take the points per game before and the points per game after, other than that mad spell where it kind of went off the rails because of speculation.
So you would say that this is horrible. You would say that Alan Sheehan has won the Swansea fans over and got you back.
I mean, that's another long story. He hasn't won all of them over. His style of play, you probably know from Swansea in the past, we like to play possession football, or have done historically. That is kind of embedded into the fan base, and I got my own opinions on it. I don't always think it should be a priority as much as it is. I do like it, don't get me wrong, but I think things change in football and results got to be priority. And that's what he's tried doing. We do still try to keep the ball, but it's not as much of a priority as it used to be. So for certain reasons, certain ways that he plays, that's kind of rattled some Swansea fans' feathers, and they don't like that. But he's getting results, so it's hard to sort of moan at the moment. But as soon as we lose a game, you see them all on social media, all of those
straight on it.
See, this is why we need to change him, because
See, this is what always bothers me, and I take this back to my own personal experience with this. See, I get my camera a bit more bright. Well, that didn't work any different. So many years ago, like I'm talking about the 1900s, West Ham were managed by Sam Allardyce, who we know is infamous for lump it long, let them run onto it, get the win. And he got West Ham into Europe. I can't remember the exact way he got them in there. I don't know if it was through that fair play league that used to be a thing, or if he actually got them qualified. I can't quite remember how he did it. But they did it, and a few of my friends are West Ham fans, and they said, "Oh, well, he got sacked." And I know they brought in Billick. I think it was Billick after him.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Payet and so off. They had their great seasons, but I turned around to them and I was like, why do you hate Allardyce so much? You haven't had European football in ages, and now all of a sudden you're playing European football. Why are you happy he's sacked? And I was like, oh, it's just rubbish football. It's rubbish football. And I was like, so you're telling me you'd rather
No,
get
I completely
relegated
agree.
from fancy football?
Same thing happened with David Moyes, didn't it? Like season
Yeah,
or two ago. It's exactly the
and
same
then
thing. Look where they are now.
that poor bloke is, come back, won them, kept them up, got sacked, come back, kept them up, got sacked, come back, won them a European Cup, got a 3-year contract, got sacked. I just don't understand it. So I don't understand when fans don't like a certain style of play. It's funny that you mention people that turncoat the second a club kind of comes offering, because your manager, if there's some Swansea fans that don't like his style of play, then I can tell you this: there's Leicester fans that really just don't like Alan Shearer in general. Because you didn't know this, we talked about it briefly backstage, but when we got relegated to League One, I just want to say a quick hello to Jesse. Hello, Jesse, you're right. We got relegated to League One, and that was a dark day in Leicester's history. We were one of them few clubs clinging on to never have been dropped out of the top two divisions. But Alan Sheehan had come through our youth system, played for us for the majority of that season. And he was one of them players that kind of made the trend of turncoat what it is today, because he came out and he said, I'm going to stay at Leicester. I'm going to help get this club back to it. This is my club. I'm one of your own, rah, rah, rah. And that all sounds lovely, doesn't it? It sounds like a lovely fairy tale story. And you were obviously expecting me to say, well, you go, Brad, that must have been him winning you the trophy back. No, Leeds put a bid in for him and he left. He left. He left after all that horse manure came out of his mouth. He left. And then in his infinite wisdom decided, I know the fan base hate me. They've taken to social media to tell me how much of a scumbag I am. And I'm going to go out on a night out on a drink in Leicester. Your manager might have brains of the managerial, but he didn't have brains about leaving it. So if he ever goes and leaves you to manage Cardiff, expect to find him in your local, because he hasn't got it up there for thinking. I can't say I'm glad he's doing well for you as a manager, but as an individual club, I'm glad you're doing all right this season. Speaking of this season, you've got a triple Desmond. 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. Now, Doug said in the chat there, Swansea have started decent. Do you think you've started decently? Because obviously you've got an even keel, but you're 25% on each
Yeah. No, I think we have.
You feel? Because you have only lost by 1 goal. You quoted that LG Leeds around you. I know it was only Wikipedia, so sorry if I'm wrong here, but it showed it shows your highest defeat, lowest defeat, and your lowest defeat was registered as the 1-0 defeat to Middlesbrough. Because I'm assuming that was your most recent. But is it a decent start? Is there a few games there where it could have been a bit better, and it's just sod's law that you haven't got like 4 wins and 2 losses? Or
no, the Middlesbrough was the first game of the season, and obviously them being top of the table now is kind of not a bad result, I guess, away from home there and losing 1-0. And that was kind of a bit of a coin toss game where either team could have won that game. I think we were both a bit rubbish, to be honest. But then maybe that's because we were both quite good defensively, so we made each other look a bit rubbish, and we lost to them via a set play ultimately, and that's what the difference was in that game. So on another day, if that's a point, then well, that's a good point. The other defeat was against Birmingham City, where they scored like a 97th minute winner or something ridiculous. And that's been a little bit of a trend as well. There was the Hull game where we conceded in 90 plus minutes as well for them to get a point rather than us to get 3. So those 2 goals there, 90 plus minute goals, costs us 3 points. You just add those 3 points on and we're looking at 14. So that's like top 4 position. So yeah, as much as it is 2-2-2 in terms of the wins, losses and draws, we've been minutes away from it being a different story in reality. It's frustrating that we didn't see those things through, and hopefully we can in future. Like, part of our issue is we maybe don't score. Like, we seem to take a lead and be happy that we've taken the lead rather than try to go further forward with the lead. And ultimately then when games are tight, going late into the game, especially these days with this stupid 1 million minute added time nonsense is happening at the end of every game. We seem to be falling foul more often than not, and they fixed it in the last game against I can't remember who it was now, Blackburn, where we held on. So I'm hoping that it's not a continuous trait, because they'd be worrying about the mentality then, but we'll have to wait and see how it pans out over a larger sample.
Yeah, because it infuriates me as well. Like, you end up with 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes stoppage time, and but it also makes me laugh because people moan when they're on the wrong end of it. A 95th minute, a 98th minute goal. They're like, well, there's 8 minutes added on. It's silly. It's like, well, this is why I don't understand why players roll around and fake injuries still. Like, I can understand, if you're injured, you are injured. You do see that can't be helped. But like constantly going down and rolling around, do they not understand? Have they not figured out that that's what's doing it? Because now you've made this whole stopwatch thing, as it is. It's not like rugby, because we don't want to follow eggs and chase them around. So we've decided to, add it on instead of just stopping the clock.
See, controversially, I think that's what they should just do, that, because that way you get rid of it all.
I'm not going to lie. I have said there's a few things I take from other sports, and the stop clock. Jose Mourinho made the perfect point. Spectators now are paying 40, 50, 60, 70 pound to go to the ticket, and that's just to go to the game, and they're seeing 45, 50 minutes at a push an hour's worth of football.
Yeah, exactly.
So I agree. But if the referee just went, go on then, one rolling volley, two,
they'd stop straight away, wouldn't they? As soon as they know the time's off, they'd stop. And then bring another rule in, if they have to turn the time off because you're down, you go off.
Yeah.
And then you come back on like what
if
they
you
do.
roll around for 30 seconds or more, you go off the pitch for a minute.
Well, I just think if they've made the ref stop the clock, then you have to go off the pitch before you can come back on.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do it then, would they? They just wouldn't do it.
Yeah. It'd soon stop. And one thing that they've slowly started to introduce is communication, because it seems a mythical thing in football that you can communicate with the fans.
Yeah.
The amount of decisions I feel, and not all of them, obviously, some of them have been very contentious and give that big six bias. I know we're in the championship, so it doesn't affect us. But it's like, and Chris will love this, I'm going to throw it out. In cricket, when it first came into cricket and it came into rugby and other sports, when the spectators couldn't hear it, they moaned about it. And then the presidents or whatever they are of them sports went, okay then, well, how about we put it on a big screen so you can at least see it? Okay, we can see it, but now we need to know why you've not get that decision, or why, you know what I mean? It's just simple things would fix the game.
Yeah.
But going on to it, so we're only 6 games into the season, but Leicester and Swansea have met each other more than 6 times. I like to do this little thing. It's a head-to-head record. I'm going to tell you how many times we've met each other, and this is in all competitions. So get your thinking cap on for FA Cup, League Cup, bloody Milk Cup, whatever cup you can think of that could have existed between the two clubs. Leicester and Swansea have met each other 41 times. If I'm any good at maths, because I should tell you, how many times do you think Swansea have come out victorious in them 41 times? You get no prizes except pride if you get right.
I'm going to say it's probably not a great deal. I'm going to go like 7 or something.
Oh, now in America, there's a shop called the 7-Eleven. And if you'd have said the other number, 11, you would have been right. We have 20. Leicester
too far off.
Yeah, not bad. Not a bad guess at all. Leicester have 21 wins, 11 wins for yourselves. And there is 9 draws for between the two clubs. We don't really draw that many games. Although the draws are creeping up on your win column. So
yeah. I feel like maybe historically Leicester have been the higher placed team through that 40-odd game.
Yeah, there is probably a few. There is probably a few cup games in there where you may have been, Championship and we were Premier League. But it's not bad out of 41 games, and still lots to go for. We're going to talk about Swansea in general, what we can expect and want to watch. But before we do that, something I've integrated in recent shows of this is a nice, and I do mean nice-ish, game of Would You Rather. Are you ready? Are you ready, Luke, to hear your Would You Rather options?
Yeah, go for it.
So, would you rather never get promoted again, but Cardiff always lose to you, or get promoted, you win the Premier League, but then Cardiff win the treble?
As in, like,
the Premier League, the FA League Cup.
Well, let's go with the first option, because what if they're going to win the Premier League anyway? What's the point of going?
League, but you'd have to suffer them winning a treble.
Yeah, I'll go for the first option. Like, not having to suffer them winning is probably better.
So you'd rather never get back into the Premier League, but always
it's more exciting in the Championship anyway, isn't it? We don't get dropped every week.
Well, yeah, that's very true.
And if the added bonus is you always beat your rival, then
that is very true. That is interesting, because I tend to, because we are in the Championship, it's a bit easy to kind of throw that prize out there, the Premier League. You're the first person who's not gone, well, we'll never win the Premier League, so I'm picking that one. And I always think, well, you never know.
I just think maybe it depends how big their rivalry is.
Yeah, to be fair, it's been a bit difficult with some of them, because the Birmingham fan, it was like one or two clubs, and if I'd have said the other one, it might have gone that way.
But when they've got more than one club, then, is it as big as a team that's only got one? I feel like all of your energy is in that one game then.
See, it's like with us, people might say Forest, some people might say Derby. I always say that, the M69 Derby versus Coventry is the biggest one, and I always say that if your derby's named after a motorway, it's obviously a massive derby. So I always say
derby, there we are for us. Yeah. But people underestimate the South Wales derby and write it off as it's not a big deal. It's the only derby match in the country that's still a bubble. Let's remember there's a reason for that.
Wow. Didn't you go on a really strong period against Cardiff where they just did not beat you?
We beat them 4 times in a row. So I was under Russell Martin, and his first season was the first time either club had ever done the double. So it was a big deal that no club had ever in the history of football ever done the double on each other. And he did it in his first season for the first time ever. So that was a massive deal. And then he did it the second season as well. So we call it the double-double. And they still haven't done it to us. So
that's always a nice little bragging right.
But every time we played them before that happened, obviously depending on who won the first game, it was always like, is it going to happen this year? Is it going to happen this year? And it's been made such a big deal. The fact that it actually happened, everyone kind of thought it would never happen. But then, we and the year we did it, we beat them I think it was 4-0 and 3-0 or something like that. Absolutely battered them.
It was an absolute pace in both ends, which makes it double pleasurable, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And ironically, where he is now, Russell Martin might have that on his mantelpiece.
It's probably the only thing for me that he should be remembered for at Swans, to be honest. I think he's got a big cult following you, actually, but I think the reality is he wasn't that successful, and that is the thing that he should be remembered for.
I think his ego got a bit too big for him, because he kind of, we don't know, we feel like he used us as a pressing point, hyped up his own interest, and maybe there wasn't. I think there was obviously communication between Leicester and him, but I think he used that once he heard that the Rangers job was going to kind of go, maybe
you're better off.
Look how well it's gone for him.
Look at how he's getting on, and look at how he got on with Southampton in the Premier League. So is that what even if he took you up this year? I don't know if he's a manager that can cope in the top level, to be honest.
Yeah, I know some fans, and again, some fans are hooked on our 2015-16 style of play. It has to be that way, or they're always going to poke holes in the logic of playing and style of play and whatnot. But I'd rather have Marty's style of play and his attitude to us than Russell Martin's here. Now we talked about that horrendous thing, and we had to talk about Alan Shearer as well. Ones to watch is what I like to do here. Now, as of late, it's obviously been the return of Fatawu, or it's Jeremy Monga. So I try and stay away from naming the Leicester's one to watch for the Swansea folk to stay away. I would say the obvious one at the moment for one of watching is Harry Winks, because before this season started, his head wasn't with us. His heart moving away, starting afresh. And between Marty coming in and the window closing, something has obviously happened. And we've now got Harry Winks, it seemed, back to his best. Leicester's style of play is very much on the possession side of things. We like to pass the ball, but we do it with a purpose. We do it with a forward purpose. I hate when fans start booing when we go half a millimetre backwards, as if it's breaking all the laws of football.
Seen that for years. Seen that for years.
I know, right? It's mad.
They demand the possession style of football, but then they boo when it goes backwards. I don't.
Yeah.
Don't give
but when you're winning, it's great. Everybody lays all over the place. But
exactly.
But that's what you can expect from Leicester, a team that's going to try and get forward. They're going to drag you onto their territory and then get in behind you. And they've got very good, if you look back at our goals, and we haven't scored many, granted, this season. We've 1-0 wins, 2-1 win out of the season. But it can be all of a sudden spring into life where it's one pass, one touch, goal sort of thing. So that's what you guys can expect. Now, you know what they say, when someone gives you information, I scratch your back, you're supposed to scratch mine. And Mart is watching, he's one of the viewers in, our manager. He's always here, honestly. I'm not making it up, right? Swansea, what can Leicester expect from Swansea? You talked a bit about possession, and pick one player that Leicester fans should be going, oh no, every time they've got the ball, or name two if you want it, because sometimes there's a combination. But
so possession is still kind of the priority, but we like to. Well, Alan Shearer wants to do a little bit more with it than just be possession for the sake of possession.
Every time I hear his name, I'm going to be like that.
That's all right. However, I think if you guys are going to come play with a lot of the ball, he probably would be happy to let you have it a bit more than you might expect based on what I'm saying. Because he also likes to be a little bit direct and catch you on the break. So if you, like you said about lulling you onto you, if we lull you into our half and then get the ball back and try and break that way, you'll deploy a high press in groups when the opportunity arises. They're quite strategic with it, but it can work well and they can win the ball back. Our midfield at the moment is very strong. A lot of investment there in the summer. The one standing out really has been Ethan Galbraith, who we've signed from Leyton Orient. 1 point something million, so a bit of a steal. And he's one of those players that's come in, hit the ground running, decided to have one of his best games on telly against Nottingham Forest in the Cup. So now everyone's like,
we do love you for that, by the way. We really do love you for that. And the continued downfall of Forest with Postolegu in charge.
So if you watch the goals, he's the one that took that shot before the winning goal at the end, the one that hit the woodwork, which would have been a screamer if it went in itself. But yeah, he's been outstanding really since he's joined. We kind of lost Matt Grimes in January and he's come in and kind of replaced him, but in a different way, in his own way. So he's been really the key part of the midfield. He's the one that pulls the strings, tries to create. He was a little bit quiet in the last game. He did get subbed off, so I would expect him to start here. And the other one, just in regards to who's been scoring, two really have got a couple of our goals. Ronald on the wing's got 3. He hasn't been a goal scorer since he's been here, really. So this is his, I think 3 goals is his best season already for goal scoring. So that's good. We've been saying all along his end product's not good enough, so he's improved there. And Zav Popotnik, who we thought might leave in the summer. He was kind of rumours he wasn't happy that he wasn't starting. Came into the team, had a point to prove, and he went on a 5-match scoring run, which included cup competitions. You can extend it to 6 if you want to include international as well. He's got 4 goals in the league. I think 2 maybe in the cup, or 1 in the cup, one or 2 in the cup. I can't remember to be sure. But yeah, I think he only scored 7 or 8 goals last season for the full season as well. So he's come out firing this year. It took him perhaps a year to get used to the league, the new settings of being in the UK. Come from Slovenia, I believe. He's Slovenian. It's either Slovenia or Slovakia. I forget which one it is.
Potato, potato, I always say when I like that.
Who did England have in the last World Cup? Because he came on as a sub against you. Slovakia? Was it Slovakia in the last Euros or whatever it was? Last summer.
Yeah, all I remember from that.
It was whichever one you played against, he came on off the bench.
Yeah.
But so he's been good. We signed Adam Ida from Celtic for like 8 million or something, and he hasn't been able to start a game in the league yet because Potnik, since he came into the team, has just been scoring basically. Which we went out and paid our money for striker because we weren't getting anyone scoring, and now he's scoring. So I guess it's good to have competition and a selection headache in that regard. But I'm glad to see him finally sort of showing what he can do. He's one of the best strikers of the ball I think I've ever seen. Like, he's got a venomous shot on him. He's just the sort of player where I think he doesn't do an awful lot unless you're creating him an opportunity, but then he's got a good finish. So like, he's not going to go and create his own opportunity, if that makes sense. So he might look a bit quiet in the game, especially if you have a lot of the ball, but then one ball into the box and maybe he can finish it and all of a sudden there's a goal. Do you know what I mean? So
we used to have a striker like that. I think he wore the number 9 and his name was Barney or Varney or something like that. Then he used to do nothing for about 60 minutes but be a nuisance and kick corner flags, and then you just play a ball over the top or through the defensive line and so I think if my memory serves me correct, we have got a striker that we can relate to on that basis, that you keep him in the back of your mind because you just know that he might not do anything for 70 minutes and then bang, you can hit 2 goals in 5 minutes and take the game away from you. So, yeah. I just hope we don't start with Vestergaard. I like Vestergaard and I think he's fine. I said this 2 seasons ago and he's proven me correct so far that he found his level in the Championship given his age and his age. But I don't know if you saw the game on Tuesday night. I don't know why you would have bothered to tune in.
No, I was watching the Swans.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure you played on the Tuesday night, so I can't imagine you even bothered with our highlights. But a 6'8" lamppost got bullied off the ball on the byline by like a 5'10". Maybe he was 6 foot because he's just that small compared to Vestergaard. But yeah, if someone who's like 6 foot or under can bully him off the ball, I'm a bit concerned that this guy will run through Vestergaard. But we will see. We will see. Now, before I get your score predictions and your thoughts on Leicester as a general this season to what you think to us, we're going to play a little fun game that I have on this series called True or False. And being as your name doesn't have any funny rhyming words that I can make out of puns, I went for Swan or Ugly Duckling. Are you ready to play Swan or Ugly Duckling? Luke?
Let's do it.
Okay, true or false. Like I said, these are varied difficulty. Most of them are pretty easy. I mean, I'm not going to say you're not a top Swansea fan if you don't get 5 out of 5. I won't do that to you. If it makes you feel any better, I know you're not exactly huge, well, you are rivals with them, but the Wrexham fan got 3 out of 5. So There's your target. There's your target. Okay, question 1. Swansea City originated under the name Swansea Rovers.
Is it Ugly Duckling's false, yeah?
Yeah, you can say either one. Humour me with Ugly Duckling.
Yeah, Ugly Duckling.
Ugly Duckling. You don't get any bonus points.
Okay.
Well, what were you called then if you're not Swansea Rovers?
Swansea Town.
Again, you don't get bonus points, but you are correct. It was false. It was Swansea Town. Good start. Good start. What? Yeah. Can you make that 2 out of 2? Okay.
We'll have to try.
Funny enough, we have brought this up tonight, so you should get this one. The last league double over rivals Cardiff was in the 2020-2021 season.
I don't think it was that year. trying to. What are we 25 now? That shows the year after. So I'm gonna say Ugly Duckling.
You think it's Ugly Duckling? You're
Yeah.
correct. It was the 2021-2020.
2 seasons ago, I think. So
Yeah.
not this year, not last year, not the year before, the one before that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Now then, talking about cups and everything earlier when I mentioned the highlight, this, even if you get this wrong, this will bring a smile to your face for 2 reasons, I think. In the 2013 League Cup final win over League Two Bradford City, future Leicester loanee and Premier League winner Nathan Dyer scored 2 goals in the 5-0 win.
That is Swan, and he nearly had a hat-trick, but Jonathan de Guzman didn't let him take the penalty that he won.
Yes.
So he got refused the opportunity to get a hat-trick and had a bit of a tantrum on the pitch, which was quite... I mean, we were drubbing Bradford at the time, so I don't think anyone...
You can have a laugh.
It didn't look great because they were arguing on the pitch, but I kind of...
But when you're 4-0 up in the final in the 91st
minute, I think the nice thing to do would have been give him the penalty to let him have a hat-trick. De Guzman ended up scoring 2, I think, as a result of the penalty. And,
he did. Who scored the other one? No bonus point, but who scored you?
Was it Michu?
Yes. You're right, it was him. It was a consolation that Dyer also got man of the match for that. I think they felt sorry for him the penalty. But yeah, you are correct. Yeah, I'm trying to drag that out. You are correct. He did score 2 goals in it. Okay, then. Well, we all know what happens after you win a cup competition. You go into Europe, don't you? And that's what question 4 is about. Okay. Swansea famously beat Valencia in their 2013-2014 Europa League group stage match, but followed that up with a 2-2 draw against Kuban Krasnodar.
Ruben Krasnodar, was it?
That one.
Oh, I can't remember. There's a lot of weird teams in there.
Well, I don't think they exist anymore because when I found your group thing out, everybody else had a blue line under it as if to click on theirs, and theirs was greyed out. So I don't even know if they exist anymore. But was the score 2-2?
Oh, I went to that. I think I went to that game. I'm going to go Ugly Duckling. So
you don't think it was 2-2?
I don't remember drawing 2-2. I think I would have been annoyed. But I feel like maybe it was 0-0 or something. Or 1-0.
Well, it was a draw. I didn't scum you out too much, and you said it's not 2-2. You said
it was away. I think it was 0-0. I can't remember.
You said it was 0-0, or it could have been 1-1.
Yeah,
but it was 1-1. So you're right to go Ugly Duckling. You are 4 out of 4, my friend. Very well done. Very well done indeed. Right then, a man that you brought twice. Swansea initially paid £12 million for Wilfred Bonnet.
Trying to think what the question might be. That's
that is the question. Yeah. Sorry, it's all right.
The
question is, you initially paid.
Yeah, Swan, he was a record signing the first time. So Swan, I'm going to say Swan.
So you've paid £12 million.
Pretty sure it was 12.
You brought him back from Man City.
Yeah, I think this fee was quite similar, to be honest.
You're locking in Swan, yeah?
You're making me doubt myself, but I'm going to lock it in.
You're going to lock it in. Well, a Birmingham fan is second on 4 out of 5. The Wrexham fan is bottom on 3 out of 5. You have joined everybody else at the joint top with 5 out of 5. Yes, you paid £12 million for him and then signed him back for £13 million a few seasons later. Very strange that. It kind of reminded me of Scott Sinclair, although if the rumours aren't believed, he moved because his wife told him to.
I think he moved for the Man City English player quota, to be honest.
Yeah, probably that.
And Boney going, to be fair, I think he did okay. I think people say he was a disappointment at Man City, but he had he won the league there, and he had a couple. He did do it. He was all right the first season. He got malaria when he went to the AFCON 1 year, and that kind of ruined him. And then he just started getting injured everywhere. But he was a good player. We shouldn't have re-signed him. That was a bit of a mistake, but Yeah.
No, but I think you was maybe was it one of them signs that you thought, I will bring him back, we'll put an arm over
Yeah, it
him.
was the year that we got relegated. It was desperate. They were just chucking money around on deadline day to try and, you know what it's like when you
Yeah.
start
At least
fighting
you
a
know
trap
the
door
guy
in the
was
Premier League, costs a
Yeah.
lot of money and you end up falling through it.
Yeah, and I suppose it's one of them. You take the gamble. It's 13 million. There you go.
He snapped his knee and was out for basically most of the
And
season.
then it's like sod's law, isn't it? Sometimes they work. Sometimes they snap the knee and it doesn't go so well. I'm going to ask you a quick question. Thoughts on Leicester? Because me and Chris will, Chris loves to play devil's advocate, but when we get down to brass taxes, me and Chris look at the league table and go, well, realistically, had we managed to hold on against Wrexham or beat our rivals Coventry, join the Swansea City versus Leicester City watch along. Yes, make sure you do. Today, tomorrow, 2:00, Chris will be live for the watch along for this game. He'll be doing that live as he always does, unless something comes up. He's always doing the watch along. But we say, look, a win or two, and actually, we're top two. Given the expectation that most Leicester fans have you looked at Leicester's position and from an outsider, because obviously we can't do anything. There could be a points deduction, but then the longer it goes on, the longer you get the feeling it's not going to. On the basis of these first 6 games, from a neutral's point of view, just glancing at Leicester's results and how they played out, how have you seen Leicester's season so far? What are your feelings?
I did have you as the one of the 3 teams that came down to perhaps struggle the most, partly because of the off the field stuff that potentially is happening. So I've been a little bit surprised to see that you're the ones that have probably been more stable. You're in the top 6 at the moment, and you haven't lost in at least the last 5, 4 draws in a row, I know. So at the end of the day, if you're not losing games, there's always a good platform to build on. And if I remember last time when you were down here, I don't necessarily think you were necessarily blowing teams away then when you rocketed to the top of the league and kind of ran away until you tried bottling it at the end of the season. But I think you looked comfortable, but you were never like battering anyone. You were just kind of doing enough getting over the line. And maybe there's a bit of that still there.
We seem to batter them.
I mean, but like even when we played you, like I said, I thought we had good games. We could have got something out of them, but you still managed to get over the line. So I feel like maybe there's a bit of that resilience still there. You've still got some quality in your teams that didn't leave in the summer. So out of the 3, you look the best place to really have a good crack. Like I think there's a few surprise packages in the league at the moment. I would imagine give it another 10 games or so and things will start stabilizing to where they look like they might be come the end of the season. I would expect Leicester would still be in the picture by then. So, I mean, it's still a daunting prospect, I think, for any team in the league to go up against you guys out of all the relegated teams. And as I said, you're the ones that are leading the way at the moment. So I think that's got to count for something.
Well, there you go. So, with that being said, you have mentioned the 4 draws in a row. Would you be happy, even though you are at home, would you be happy with a point? Or are you wanting, are you expecting that you can, do what others haven't been able to as of late? We do have a worse away record than we do at home. Do you fancy your chances? Would you be happy with a point? And then ultimately, I'm going to get you to give me a score prediction.
I'd be okay with a point. Don't get me wrong. I don't expect to win the game. I think it'd be silly to expect to win any game against the 3 that came down, even with the other 2 where they are in the league at the moment. I think it's being naive to say you expect to win it. And like if we do manage to win, I think it would be a really good result. And I think we probably need a win to show that we are a serious contender for the top 6. I think if we do win the game, it would show that. I think there's been, like I said, a lot of narrow misses. Like the wins we've had this season already, unfortunately, they've all come against the bottom 3. So we've won 3 games, and it was against Blackburn, Sheffield Wednesday, and Sheffield United. Not necessarily the bottom 3 at time of playing them. And obviously, at Blackburn's game against Ipswich stood, they wouldn't be there. But ultimately on paper right now they are, and that's our 3 wins. So there's a little bit of, are we where we are? We only won against the bottom 3. Is this where we should be? But I think if we can win against what is considered a good team, that will show where we are really. But I think the most important thing is to not lose. And I think we've been really good at doing that, especially at home. We haven't lost a game at home this season. So if we can maintain our unbeaten record at home, I will be happy. And, drawing to Leicester is not the worst result you're going to have at home. Like we've drawn to Hull and we've drawn to Watford. They're more frustrating than drawing to Leicester.
Well, that's very nice of you to say. And given our record in the last 4 games, as you pointed out, draw is what you should start calling us. I have gone for a draw. Leicester fans and myself probably won't like to hear that. 5 draws in a row. No, Brad, please stop the rot. But it's at the moment we are rebuilding as a platform. And I know people say it's the same squad that you had 2 years ago. No, it's not. First of all, and even those players that were here 2 years ago, the majority of them didn't play week in, week out. They were getting picked over. Someone else was getting picked over them. First of all, I could go on. We've done many a show. Chris will tell you I don't shut up. About the defensive frailties last season, rebuilding the confidence, restructuring the team, the lateness of everything, the arrivals of players and the manager. At the moment, we're not shipping too many goals. Minus that Preston game and the Oxford game, we've been pretty solid at the back. I would take nicking a 1-0 win. I would also like to remind any team that comes up against us, we are top on second half form. So if we do go 1-0 down, at least it's not like some teams you've seen, they can capitulate, they can, they 1 or 2-0 down or 2-1 down at half time. We're not going to see us as being out of it because we do seem to do a lot better in the second half. I've gone 1-1. Where are you laying your sword on this one?
I was going to say the same, to be honest. We don't score loads and we don't concede loads. And you said about second half, like we tend to, if we to go 1-0 up, it wouldn't surprise me to see you come out second half and get something late on and it just fizzles out from there. Or like Millwall game, we had early goal and they got one on the stroke of half time and it fizzled out from there. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see a 1-1. I think that's what I would predict if I was going to put money on something.
There you go. He's committed, guys. For the first time, I actually think as well on this preview show, both myself and the guest have predicted the same, which
it's the easy one, isn't it? I think it's like it looks on paper like the obvious scoreline.
Yeah. So Q either 0-0, the most boringest game we've ever witnessed.
That wouldn't surprise me either with what you said about goal scoring and ball possession and stuff. 0-0 as well.
Or the opposite happens and we both get leaky at the back and it's 3-3 or 4 or something like that.
Be a bit exciting at least.
Yeah, I'd take that. As long as we got something from it, I'd definitely take it. Luke, you have been a tremendous guest. Craig's gone 1-1. Luke has said got new Northampton Town away shirt. Brilliant, mate. Hope that you like the look of that. Craig's gone 1-1. I think it's going to be a close game. Luke, I would wish you the best tomorrow, but I'd be lying through my teeth. But after that, I hope you have a wonderful season going forward and you can make the playoffs. Just before I let you go, though, mate, not that you're being held hostage, you can leave if you want, but why would you wish such a lovely channel to be on? Let everybody know where you do your good stuff on the YouTubes and the social medias, as my granddad would say. Let everybody know where they can find you and how they can go about following you.
Yeah, if you just type in Swans Cast on YouTube or any of the other platforms where you normally hear your podcasts, you should find us on there. Everything goes on both. We have got a little bit of a preview. I think Chris recorded it for us. It unfortunately wasn't a conversation like this, which we normally would do. But we weren't able to get the time this week because I went away. So I'm here now late on Friday for this one. But yeah, if you want to go check out what Chris had to say in advance, it's on our YouTube channel. So you can go check that out, or on Spotify or any of the other platforms.
Cheers, Luke. There you go, guys. You want to hear our lovely leader and dictator, Chris, over on Swans Cast. go and check out his YouTube channel. Go and show them a lot of love and support on the preview. I'm sure it's great content, and I'm sure they'll have many great content. And you can always go there when we beat them on Saturday, can't you? Just give them some
Come and tell us in the comments how bad.
I know. No, these lot are actually, to be fair, these lot are lovely. We have in there. They're very lovely. They're very gracious, and they will. If you've played well and deserved something from the game, they will happily say you deserved and you were unlucky. So don't worry, we won't be too harsh on you. So just remember that if you batter us, to come onto ours and be gracious.
I don't think that's going to happen anyway. But yeah.
Well. You never know. Luke, thank you very much for coming on. I'm going to let you go now because it's getting late. But you've been a brilliant guest. Cheers for coming on.
Sure, we'll speak later in the season, but thanks for having me.
I'm sure we will. Maybe on the reverse fixture.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you later, buddy.
Yeah, in a bit.
Right. That was Luke, everybody. Fantastic from Swans Cast. So, yeah, go and check out. I believe Chris adds the link into the description. So, go please check out theirs for the preview where I'm going to big him up here if he's still a dashing man will be on there for the preview, discussing all things Leicester and probably giving Marty the backing that he deserves to be getting from you guys. Do remember, there isn't a banner going across the bottom as usually is, but Chris has been a busy man, so he hasn't had time to do it. You had one job, Chris. He had one job to leave, folks. He had just one job. But do please hit that subscribe button to the channel if you are new. Hit the like on this video. Make sure all notifications are turned on. You don't have to get up bright-eyed. You don't even have to be bushy-tailed. I'm sure our host and then his guests won't be. This handsome gentleman might be. But it is the post-match. It is the pre-match, the watch-along, the whatever, Brad. Just make it up as you go along. Don't read the script. Yes, it is the watch-along. It will be live 2:00 tomorrow to get you all in the mood for a trip down to Wales. I mean, Chris will be staying in Leicester, staying in England, thankfully, so the Welsh can keep their doors open and don't have to lock themselves away. But watch along, 2 p.m, LTRA TV. Hit subscribe and make sure you are here for that. And if I don't see you then, I'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.